Act 4 of All's Well That Ends Well. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 4 of All's Well That Ends Well by William Shakespeare. Scene 1. Without the Florentine camp. Enter second French lord, with 5 or 6 other soldiers in ambush.
He can come no other way but by this hedge-corner. When you sally upon him, speak what terrible language you will, though you understand it not yourselves, no matter, for we must not seem to understand him, unless some one among us whom we must produce for an interpreter.
Good captain, let me be the interpreter.
Art not acquainted with him? Knows he not thy voice?
No, sir, I warrant you.
But what linsey-woolsey hast thou to speak to us again?
Even such as you speak to me.
He must think us some band of strangers of the adversary's entertainment. Now he hath a smack of all neighbouring languages, therefore we must every one be a man of his own fancy, not to know what we speak one to another. So we seem to know is to know straight our purpose. Chuff's language, gabble enough and good enough. As for you, interpreter, you must seem very politic. But couch, ho! Here he comes, to beguile 2 hours in a sleep, and then to return and swear the lies he forges.
Enter Parolles.
10 o'clock. Within these 3 hours 'twill be time enough to go home. What shall I say I have done? It must be a very plausive invention that carries it. They begin to smoke me, and disgraces have of late knocked too often at my door. I find my tongue is too foolhardy. But my heart hath the fear of Mars before it, and of his creatures, not daring the reports of my tongue.
This is the first truth that e'er thine tongue was guilty of.
What the devil should move me to undertake the recovery of this drum, being not ignorant of the impossibility, and knowing I had no such purpose? I must give myself some hurts, and say I got them in exploit. Yet slight ones will not carry it. They will say, came you off with so little? And great ones I dare not give. Wherefore, what's the instance? Tongue, I must put you into a butter-woman's mouth, and buy myself another of Bajazet's mule, if you prattle me into these perils.
Is it possible he should know what he is, and be that he is?
I would the cutting of my garments would serve the turn, or the breaking of my Spanish sword.
We cannot afford you so.
Or the baring of my beard, and to say it was in stratagem.
'Twould not do.
Or to drown my clothes, and say I was stripped.
Hardly serve.
Though I swore I leaped from the window of the citadel.
How deep?
30 fathom.
3 great oaths would scarce make that be believed.
I would I had any drum of the enemy's. I would swear I recovered it.
You shall hear one anon.
Oh, a drum now of the enemy's.
Alarum within.
Throca moveusas! Cargo, cargo, cargo!
Oh, ransom! Ransom, do not hide mine eyes!
They seize and blindfold him.
Bosco's tumulto Bosco's.
I know you are the Muscos regiment, and I shall lose my life for want of language. If there be here German or Dane, Low Dutch, Italian or French, let him speak to me. I'll discover that which shall undo the Florentine.
Bosco's Volvedo. I understand thee, and can speak thy tongue. Carely Bontosa. Betake thee to thy fate, for 17 poniards are at thy bosom.
Oh!
Oh, pray, pray, pray. Manca rivania dulce.
Oscorbi dulcos volevorco.
The general is content to spare thee yet, and hoodwinked as thou art, will lead thee on. Together from thee, haply thou mayst inform something to save thy life.
Oh, let me live, and all the secrets of our camp I'll show, their force, their purposes, and nay, I'll speak that which you will wonder at.
But wilt thou faithfully?
If I do not, damn me.
Accordolinta. Come on, thou art granted space.
Exit with Parolles guarded. A short alarum within.
Go, tell the Count Rousillon and my brother, we have caught the woodcock, and will keep him muffled till we do hear from them.
Captain, I will.
I will betray us all unto ourselves. Inform on that.
So I will, sir.
Till then, I'll keep him dark and safely locked.
Exeunt. Scene 2. Florence, the widow's house. Enter Bertram and Diana.
They told me that your name was Fontybell,
No, my good lord, Diana.
titled goddess, and worth it, with addition. But, fair soul, in your fine frame, have love no quality? If the quick fire of youth light not your mind, you are no maiden, but a monument. When you are dead you should be such a one as you are now, for you are cold and stern, and now you should be as your mother was when your sweet self was got.
She then was honest.
So should you be.
No, my mother did but duty, such, my lord, as you owe to your wife.
No more of that. I prithee do not strive against my vows. I was compelled to her, but I love thee by love's own sweet constraint, and will for ever do thee all rites of service.
Ay, so you serve us till we serve you. But when you have our roses, you barely leave our thorns to prick ourselves, and mock us with our bareness.
How have I sworn?
'Tis not the many oaths that makes the truth, but the plain single vow that is vowed true. What is not holy, that we swear not by, but take the highest to witness. Then pray you tell me, if I should swear by God's great attributes I loved you dearly, would you believe my oaths when I did love you ill? This has no holding to swear by him whom I protest to love, that I will work against him. Therefore your oaths are words and poor conditions, but unsealed, at least in my opinion.
Change it, change it. Be not so wholly cruel. Love is holy, and my integrity ne'er knew the crafts that you do charge men with. Stand no more off, but give thyself unto my sick desires. Who then recovers? Say thou art mine, and ever my love as it begins shall so persever.
I see that men make ropes in such a scar that we'll forsake ourselves. Give me that ring.
I'll lend it thee, my dear, but have no power to give it from me.
Will you not, my lord?
It is an honour longing to our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy in the world in me to lose.
Mine honours such a ring. My chastity's the jewel of our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy of the world in me to lose. Thus your own proper wisdom brings in the champion honour on my part against your vain assault.
Here, take my ring, my house, mine honour, yea, my life be thine, and I'll be bid by thee.
When midnight comes, knock at my chamber window. I'll order take my mother shall not hear. Now will I charge you in the band of truth, when you have conquered my yet maiden bed, remain there but an hour, nor speak to me. My reasons are most strong, and you shall know them when back again this ring shall be delivered. And on your finger in the night I'll put another ring, that what in time proceeds may token to the future our past deeds. Adieu till then. Then fail not. You have won a wife of me, though there my hope be done.
A heaven on earth I have won by wooing thee.
Exit.
For which live long to thank both heaven and me. You may so in the end. My mother told me just how he would woo, as if she sat in's heart. She says all men have the like oaths. He had sworn to marry me when his wife's dead, therefore I'll lie with him when I am buried. Since Frenchmen are so braid, marry that will, I live and die a maid. Only in this disguise I think't no sin to cozen him that would unjustly win.
Exit. Scene 3. The Florentine camp. Enter the 2 French lords and some 2 or 3 soldiers.
You have not given him his mother's letter?
I have delivered it, an hour since. There is something in't that stings his nature, for on the reading it he changed almost into another man.
He has much worthy blame laid upon him for shaking off so good a wife and so sweet a lady.
Especially he hath incurred the everlasting displeasure of the king, who had even tuned his bounty to sing happiness to him. I will tell you a thing, but you shall let it dwell darkly with you.
When you have spoken it, 'tis dead, and I am the grave of it.
He hath perverted a young gentlewoman here in Florence, of a most chaste renown, and this night he fleshes his will in the spoil of her honour. He hath given her his monumental ring, and thinks himself made in the unchaste composition.
Now God delay our rebellion, as we are ourselves. What things are we?
Merely our own traitors. And as in the common course of all treasons, we still see them reveal themselves till they attain to their abhorred ends, so he that in this action contrives against his own nobility, in his proper stream o'erflows himself.
Is it not meant damnable in us to be trumpeters of our unlawful intents? We shall not then have his company to-night?
Not till after midnight, for he is dieted to his hour.
That approaches apace. I would gladly have him see his company anatomized, that he might take a measure of his own judgments, wherein so curiously he had set this counterfeit.
We will not meddle with him till he come, for his presence must be the whip of the other.
In the meantime, what hear you of these wars?
I hear there is an overture of peace.
Nay, I assure you, a peace concluded.
What will Count Rousillon do then? Will he travel higher, or return again into France?
I perceive by this demand you are not altogether of his counsel.
Let it be forbid, sir. So should I be a great deal of his act.
Sir, his wife some 2 months since fled from his house. Her pretence is a pilgrimage to Saint Jacques le Grand, with holy undertaking, with most austere sanctimony she accomplished, and there, residing, the tenderness of her nature became as prey to her grief, in fine, made a groan of her last breath, and now she sings in heaven.
How is this justified?
The stronger part of it by her own letters, which makes her story true, even to the point of her death itself, which could not be her office to say is come, was faithfully confirmed by the rector of the place.
Hath the Count all this intelligence?
Ay, and the particular confirmations, point from point, so to the full arming of the verity.
I am heartily sorry that he'll be glad of this.
How mightily sometimes we make us comforts of our losses.
And how mightily some other times we drown our gain in tears. The great dignity that his valour hath here acquired for him shall at home be encountered with a shame as ample.
The web of our life is of a mingled yarn, good and ill together. Our virtues would be proud, if our faults whipped them not, and our crimes would despair, if they were not cherished by our virtues.
Enter a messenger.
How now? Where's your master?
He met the Duke in the street, sir, of whom he hath taken a solemn leave. His lordship will next morning for France. The Duke hath offered him letters of commendation to the king.
They shall be no more than needful there, if they were more than they can commend.
They cannot be too sweet for the king's tartness. Here's his lordship now.
Enter Bertram.
How now, my lord? Is it not after midnight?
I have, to-night, dispatched 16 businesses, a month's length apiece. By an abstract of success, I have congéed with the Duke, done my adieu with his nearest, buried a wife, mourned for her, writ to my lady mother I am returning, entertained my convoy, and, between these main parcels of dispatch, effected many nicer needs. The last was the greatest, but that I have not ended yet.
If the business be of any difficulty, and this morning your departure hence, it requires haste of your lordship.
I mean the business is not ended as fearing to hear of it hereafter. But shall we have this dialogue between the fool and the soldier? Come, bring forth this counterfeit module. He has deceived me like a double-meaning prophesier.
Bring him forth. Has sat in the stocks all night, poor gallant knave.
No matter. His heels have deserved it in usurping his spurs so long. How does he carry himself?
I have told your lordship already. The stocks carry him. But to answer you as you would be understood, he weeps like a wench that had shed her milk. He hath confessed himself to Morgan, whom he supposes to be a friar, from the time of his remembrance to this very instant disaster of his setting of the stocks. And what think you he hath confessed?
Nothing of me, has he?
His confession is taken, and it shall be read to his face. If your lordship be in't, as I believe you are, you must have the patience to bear it.
Enter Parolles guarded, and first soldier.
A plague upon him! Muffled! He can say nothing of me. Hush! Hush!
Hoodman comes. Porta Tortorosa.
He calls for the tortures. What will you say without them?
I will confess what I know without constraint. If you pinch me like a pasty, I can say no more.
Bosco si Marco.
Bablibindo Chicamurco.
You are a merciful general. Our general beats you answer to what I shall ask you out of a note.
And truly, as I hope to live.
Reads.
First demand of him how many horse the Duke is strong. What say you to that?
5 or 6,000, but very weak and unserviceable. The troops are all scattered, and the commanders very poor rogues. Upon my reputation and credit, and as I hope to live.
Shall I set down your answer so?
Do! I'll take the sacrament on it, how and which way you will.
All's one to him. What a past-saving slave is this?
You're deceived, my lord. This is Monsieur Parolles, the gallant militarist. That was his own phrase. That had the whole theoric of war in the knot of his scarf, and the practice in the shape of his dagger.
I will never trust a man again for keeping his sword clean, nor believe he can have everything in him by wearing his apparel neatly.
Well, that is set down.
5 or 6,000 horse, I said. I will say true, or thereabouts set down, for I'll speak truth.
He's very near the truth in this.
But I con him no thanks for it in the nature he delivers it.
Poor rogues, I pray you say.
Well, that's set down.
I humbly thank you, sir. A truth's a truth. The rogues are marvellous poor.
Reads.
Demand of him of what strength they are afoot. What say you to that?
By my troth, sir, if I were to live this present hour, I will tell true. Let me see. Spurio, 150. Sebastian, so many. Corambus, so many. Jaques, so many. Giltian, Cosmo, Lodowick, and Gratii, 250 each. Mine own company, Critifer, Vaumond, Bentii, 250 each. So that the muster file, rotten and sound upon my life, amounts not to 15,000 poll. Half the which dare not shake snow from out their cassocks, lest they shake themselves to pieces.
What shall be done to him?
Nothing, but let him have thanks. Demand of him my condition, and what credit I have with the Duke.
Well, that's set down.
Reads.
You shall demand of him whether one Captain Dumaine be in the camp a Frenchman, what his reputation is with the Duke, what his valour, honesty, and expertness in wars, and whether he thinks it were not possible with well-weighing sums of gold to corrupt him to revolt. What say you to this? What do you know of it?
I beseech you, let me answer to the particular of the interrogatories. Demand them singly.
Do you know this Captain Dumaine?
I know him. I was a butcher's prentice in Paris, from whence he was whipped for getting the Shreve's fool with child, a dumb innocent that could not say him nay.
Nay, by your leave, hold your hands, though I know his brains are forfeit to the next tile that falls.
Well, is this captain in the Duke of Florence's camp?
Upon my knowledge, he is. And lousy.
Nay, look not so upon me. We shall hear of your lordship anon.
What is his reputation with the Duke?
The Duke knows him for no other but a poor officer of mine, and writ to me this other day to turn him out of the band. I think I have his letter in my pocket.
Marry, we will search.
In good sadness, I do not know. Either it is there, or it is upon a file with the Duke's other letters in my tent.
Here it is. Here is a paper. Shall I read it to you?
I do not know if it be or no.
Our interpreter does it well.
Excellently.
Reads.
Diane, the Count is a fool, and a fool of gold.
That is not the Duke's letter, sir. That is an advertisement to a proper maid in Florence, one Diana, to take heed of the allurement of one Count Rousillon, a foolish idle boy, but for all that very ruttish. I pray you, sir, put it up again.
Nay, I'll read it first, by your favour.
My meaning in it, I protest, was very honest in the behalf of the maid, for I knew the young count to be a dangerous and lascivious boy, who is a whale to virginity, and devours up all the fry it finds.
Damnable both sides rogue!
Reads.
When he swears oaths, bid him drop gold, and take it. After he scores, he never pays the score. Half won is match well made. Match, and will make it. He never pays after debts. Take it before. And say a soldier Dian told thee this: men are to mail with, boys are not to kiss. For count of this, the count is a fool, I know it, who pays before, but not when he does owe it. Thine, as he vowed to thee in thine ear, Parolles.
He shall be whipped through the army with this rhyme in his forehead.
This is your devoted friend, sir, the manifold linguist and the armipotent soldier.
I could endure anything before, but a cat. And now he's a cat to me.
I perceive, sir, by the general's looks, we shall be fain to hang you.
My life, sir, in any case. Not that I am afraid to die, but that my offences being many, I would repent out the remainder of nature. Let me live, sir, in a dungeon, in the stocks, or anywhere, so I may live.
We'll see what may be done, so you confess freely. Therefore, once more to this Captain Dumaine, you have answered to his reputation with the Duke, and to his valour. What is his honesty?
He will steal, sir, an egg out of a cloister. For rapes and ravishments he parallels Nessus. He professes not keeping of oaths. In breaking them he is stronger than Hercules. He will lie, sir, with such volubility that you will think truth were a fool. Drunkenness is his best virtue, for he will be swine drunk, and in his sleep he does little harm, save to his bedclothes about him. But they know his conditions and lay him in straw. I have but little more to say, sir, of his honesty. He has everything that an honest man should not have. What an honest man should have, he has nothing.
I begin to love him for this.
For this description of thine honesty? A pox upon him! For me he's more and more a cat!
What say you to his expertness in war?
Faith, sir, he has led the drum before the English tragedians. To belie him I will not, and more of his soldiership I know not, except in that country he had the honour to be the officer at a place there called Mile End, to instruct for the doubling of files. I would do the man what honour I can, but of this I am not certain.
He hath out-villained villainy so far, that the rarity redeems him.
Pox on him, he's a cat still.
His qualities being at this poor price, I need not to ask you if gold will corrupt him to revolt.
Sir, for a quart d'écu he will sell the fee simple of his salvation, the inheritance of it, and cut the entail from all remainders, and a perpetual succession for it perpetually.
What's his brother, the other Captain Dumaine?
Why does he ask him of me?
What is he?
E'en a crow of the same nest, not altogether so great as the first in goodness, but greater a great deal in evil. He exceeds his brother for a coward, yet his brother is reputed one of the best that is. In a retreat he outruns any lackey. Marry, in coming on, he has the cramp.
If your life be saved, will you undertake to betray the Florentine?
Ay, and the captain of his horse, Count Rousillon.
I will whisper the general, and know his pleasure.
Aside.
I'll no more drumming. A plague of all drums. Only to seem to deserve well, and to beguile the supposition of that lascivious young boy the Count, have I run into this danger. Yet who would have suspected an ambush where I was taken?
There is no remedy, sir, but you must die. The general says, you that have so traitorously discovered the secrets of your army, and made such pestiferous reports of man very nobly held, can serve the world for no honest use. Therefore you must die. Come, headsman, off with his head.
Oh Lord, sir, let me live, or let me see my death.
That shall you, and take your leave of all your friends.
Unblinding him.
So, look about you. Know you any here?
Good morrow, noble captain.
God bless you, Captain Parolles.
God save you, noble captain.
Captain, what greeting will you to my lord Lafeu? I am for France.
Good captain, will you give me a copy of the sonnet you writ to Diana in behalf of the Count Rousillon? And I were not a very coward, ill compel it of you, but fare you well.
Exeunt Bertram and Lords.
You are undone, captain, all but your scarf. That has a knot on't yet.
Who cannot be crushed with a plot?
If you could find out a country where but women where that had received so much shame, you might begin an impudent nation. Fare you well, sir. I am for France too. We shall speak of you there.
Exit with soldiers.
Yet I am thankful. If my heart were great, 'twould burst at this. Captain I'll be no more, but I will eat and drink, and sleep as soft as captain shall. Simply the thing I am shall make me live. Who knows himself a braggart, let him fear this, for it will come to pass that every braggart shall be found an ass. Rust, sword, cool, blushes, and Parolles live safest in shame. Being fooled, by foolery thrive. There's place and means for every man alive. I'll after them.
Exit. Scene 4. Florence, the widow's house. Enter Helena, widow, and Diana.
That you may well perceive I have not wronged you, one of the greatest in the Christian world shall be my surety, for whose throne 'tis needful, ere I can perfect mine intents, to kneel. Time was I did him a desired office, dear almost as his life, which gratitude through flinty Tartar's bosom would peep forth and answer thanks. I duly am informed his grace is at Marseilles, to which place we have convenient convoy. You must know I am supposed dead, the army breaking, my husband hies him home, where heaven aiding, and by the leave of my good lord the king, will be before our welcome.
Gentle madam, you never had a servant to whose trust your business was more welcome.
Nor you, mistress, ever a friend whose thoughts more truly labour to recompense your love. Doubt not but heaven hath brought me up to be your daughter's dower, as it hath fated her to be my motive and helper to a husband. But oh, strange men, that can such sweet use make of what they hate, when saucy trusting of the cozened thoughts defiles the pitchy night, so lust doth play with what it loathes for that which is away. But more of this hereafter. You, Diana, under my poor instructions yet must suffer something in my behalf.
Let death and honesty go with your impositions. I am yours upon your will to suffer.
Yet I pray you, but with the word the time will bring on summer, when briars shall have leaves as well as thorns, and be as sweet as sharp. We must away, our waggon is prepared, and time revives us. All's well that ends well, still the fine's the crown. Whate'er the course, the end is the renown.
Exeunt. Scene 5. Rousillon, the Count's palace. Enter Countess, Lafeu, and Clown.
No, no, no. Your son was misled with a snipped taffeta fellow there, whose villainous saffron would have made all the unbaked and doughy youth of a nation in his colour. Your daughter-in-law had been alive at this hour, and your son here at home more advanced by the king than by that red-tailed humble-bee I speak of.
I would I had not known him. It was the death of the most virtuous gentlewoman that ever nature had praise for creating. If she had partaken of my flesh and cost me the dearest groans of a mother, I could not have owed her a more rooted love.
'Twas a good lady, 'twas a good lady. We may pick 1,000 sallets ere we light on such another herb.
Indeed, sir, she was the sweet marjoram of the salad, or rather the herb of grace.
They are not herbs, you knave. They are nose herbs.
I am no great Nebuchadnezzar, sir. I have not much skill in grass.
Whether dost thou profess thyself a knave or a fool?
A fool, sir, at a woman's service, and a knave at a man's.
Your distinction?
I would cozen the man of his wife, and do his service.
So you were a knave at his service, indeed.
And I would give his wife my bauble, sir, to do her service.
I will subscribe for thee. Thou art both knave and fool.
At your service.
No, no, no.
Why, sir, if I cannot serve you, I can serve as great a prince as you are.
Who's that? A Frenchman?
Faith, sir, has an English name, but his physiognomy is more hotter in France than here.
What prince is that?
The Black Prince, sir, alias the Prince of Darkness, alias the Devil.
Hold thee, there's my purse. I give thee not this to suggest thee from thy master thou talkest of. Serve him still.
I am a woodland fellow, sir, that always loved a great fire, and the master I speak of ever keeps a good fire. But sure, he is the prince of the world. Let his nobility remain in's court. I am for the house with the narrow gate, which I take to be too little for pomp to enter. Some that humble themselves may, but the many will be too chill and tender, and they'll be for the flowery way that leads to the broad gate and the great fire.
Go thy ways. I begin to be a-weary of thee, and I tell thee so before, because I would not fall out with thee. Go thy ways. Let my horses be well looked to, without any tricks.
If I put any tricks upon 'em, sir, they shall be jades' tricks, which are their own right by the law of nature.
Exit.
A shrewd knave, and an unhappy.
So he is. My lord that's gone made himself much sport out of him. By his authority he remains here, which he thinks is a patent for his sauciness. And indeed he has no pace, but runs where he will.
I like him well, 'tis not amiss. And I was about to tell you, since I heard of the good lady's death, and that my lord your son was upon his return home, I moved the king my master to speak in the behalf of my daughter, which in the minority of them both his majesty, out of a self-gracious remembrance, did first propose. His highness hath promised me to do it, and to stop up the displeasure he hath conceived against your son, there is no fitter matter. How does your ladyship like it?
With very much content, my lord, and I wish it happily effected.
His highness comes post from Marseilles, of as able body as when he numbered 30. He will be here to-morrow, or I am deceived by him that in such intelligence hath seldom failed.
It rejoices me that I hope I shall see him ere I die. I have letters that my son will be here to-night. I shall beseech your lordship to remain with me till they meet together.
Madam, I was thinking with what manners I might safely be admitted.
You need but plead your honourable privilege.
Lady, of that I have made a bold charter, but I thank my God it holds yet.
Re-enter Clown.
Oh, madam, yonder's my lord your son, with a patch of velvet on's face. Whether there be a scar under't or no, the velvet knows. but 'tis a goodly patch of velvet. His left cheek is a cheek of 2 pile and a half, but his right cheek is worn bare.
A scar nobly got, or a noble scar, is a good livery of honour. So belike is that.
But it is your carbonadoed face.
Let us go see your son, I pray you. I long to talk with the young noble soldier.
Faith, there's a dozen of 'em, with delicate fine hats and most courteous feathers, which bow the head and nod at every man.
Exeunt. End of Act 4. Of All's Well That Ends Well. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 5 of All's Well That Ends Well by William Shakespeare. Scene 1. Marseille, a street. Enter Helena, widow, and Diana, with 2 attendants.
Ah, but this exceeding posting day and night must wear your spirits low. We cannot help it. But since you have made the days and nights as one, to wear your gentle limbs in my affairs, be bold you do so grow in my requital as nothing can unroot you. In happy time.
Enter a gentleman.
This man may help me to his Majesty's ear, if he would spend his power. God save you, sir.
And you?
Sir, I have seen you in the court of France.
I have been sometimes there.
I do presume, sir, that you are not fallen from the report that goes upon your goodness, and therefore, goaded with most sharp occasions which lay nice manners by, I put you to the use of your own virtues, for the which I shall continue thankful.
What's your will?
That it will please you to give this poor petition to the king, and aid me with that store of power you have to come into his presence.
The king's not here.
Not here, sir?
Not, indeed. He hence removed last night, and with more haste than is his use.
Lord, how we lose our pains!
All's well that ends well yet, though time seems so adverse and means unfit. I do beseech you, whither is he gone?
Marry, as I take it, to Rousillon, whither I am going.
I do beseech you, sir, since you are like to see the king before me, commend the paper to his gracious hand, which I presume shall render you no blame, but rather make you thank your pains for it. I will come after you with what good speed our means will make us means.
This I'll do for you.
And you shall find yourself to be well thanked, whate'er falls more. Ah, we must to horse again. Go, go, provide.
Exeunt. Scene 2. Rousillon, before the Count's palace. Enter Clown and Parolles following.
Ah, good Monsieur Lavache, give my Lord Lafeu this letter. I have ere now, sir, been better known to you, when I have held familiarity with fresher clothes. But I am now, sir, muddied in Fortune's mood, and smell somewhat strong of her strong displeasure.
Truly, Fortune's displeasure is but sluttish, if it smells so strongly as thou speak'st of. I will henceforth eat no fish of Fortune's buttering. Prithee, allow the wind.
Nay, you need not to stop your nose, sir. I spake but by a metaphor.
Indeed, sir, if your metaphors stink, I will stop my nose, or against any man's metaphor. Prithee, get thee further.
Pray you, sir, deliver me this paper.
Oh, prithee, stand away. A paper from Fortune's close stool to give to a nobleman. Look, here he comes himself.
Enter Lafeu.
Here is a purr of Fortune, sir, or of Fortune's cat, but not a muscat, that has fallen into the unclean fish pond of her displeasure, and, as he says, is muddied withal. Pray you, sir, use the carp as you may, for he looks like a poor, decayed, ingenious, foolish, rascally knave. I do pity his distress in my similes of comfort, and leave him to your lordship.
Exit.
My lord, I am a man whom fortune hath cruelly scratched.
And what would you have me to do? 'Tis too late to pare her nails now. Wherein have you played the knave with fortune, that she should scratch you, who of herself is a good lady, and would not have knaves thrive long under her? There's a quart d'écu for you. Let the justices make you and fortune friends. I am for other business.
I beseech your honour to hear me one single word.
You beg a single penny more. Come, you shall hie it. Save your word.
My name, my good lord, is Parolles.
You beg more than word, then. Cogs my passion. Give me your hand. How does your drum?
Oh, my good lord, you were the first that found me.
Was I, in sooth? And I was the first that lost thee.
It lies in you, my lord, to bring me in some grace, for you did bring me out.
Out upon thee, knave! Dost thou put upon me at once both the office of God and the devil? One brings thee in grace, and the other brings thee out.
Trumpets sound.
The king's coming, I know by his trumpets. Sirrah, inquire further after me. I had talk of you last night. Though you are a fool and a knave, you shall eat. Go to, follow.
I praise God for you.
Exeunt. Scene 3. Rousillon, the Count's palace. Flourish. Enter King, Countess, Lafeu, the 2 French lords with attendants.
We lost a jewel of her, and our esteem was made much poorer by it. But your son, as mad in folly, lacked the sense to know her estimation home.
'Tis past, my liege, and I beseech your majesty to make it natural rebellion, done in the blaze of youth, when oil and fire, too strong for reason's force, o'erbears it and burns on.
My honoured lady, I have forgiven and forgotten all, though my revengers were high bent upon him, and watched the time to shoot.
This I must say, but first I beg my pardon. The young lord did to his majesty, his mother, and his lady, offence of mighty note, but to himself the greatest wrong of all. He lost a wife whose beauty did astonish the survey of richest eyes, whose words all ears took captive, whose dear perfection hearts that scorned to serve humbly called mistress.
Praising what is lost makes the remembrance dear. Well, call him hither. We are reconciled, and the first view shall kill all repetition. Let him not ask our pardon. The nature of his great offence is dead, and deeper than oblivion do we bury the incensing relics of it. Let him approach, a stranger, no offender, and inform him, so 'tis our will he should.
I shall, my liege.
Exit.
What says he to your daughter? Have you spoke?
All that he is hath reference to your highness.
Then shall we have a match? I have letters sent me that set him high in fame.
Enter Bertram.
I am not a day of season, for thou mayst see a sunshine and a hail in me at once. But to the brightest beams distracted clouds give way. So stand thou forth, the time is fair again.
My high repented blames, dear sovereign, pardon to me.
All is whole, not one word more of the consumed time. Let's take the instant by the forward top. for we are old, and on our quickest degrees the inaudible and noiseless foot of time steals ere we can effect them. You remember the daughter of this lord?
Admiringly, my liege. At first I stuck my choice upon her, ere my heart durst make too bold a herald of my tongue, where the impression of mine eye in fixing, contempt his scornful perspective did lend me, which warped the line of every other favour, scorned a fair colour or expressed it stolen, extended or contracted all proportions to a most hideous object. Thence it came that she whom all men praised, and whom myself, since I have lost, have loved, was, in mine eye, the dust that did offend it.
Well excused. That thou didst love her strikes some scores away from the great Comte, but love that comes too late, like a remorseful pardon slowly carried to the great sender, turns a sour offence, crying, "That's good, that's gone." Our rash faults make trivial price of serious things we have, not knowing them until we know their grave. Oft our displeasures, to ourselves unjust, destroy our friends, and after weep their dust. Our own love, waking, cries to see what's done, while shame, full late, sleeps out the afternoon. Be this sweet Helen's knell, and now forget her. Send forth your amorous token for fair Magdalen. The main consents are had, and here we'll stay to see our widower's second marriage day.
Which better than the first, O dear heaven bless? Or, ere they meet, in me, O nature cess?
Come on, my son, in whom my house's name must be digested. Give a favour from you to sparkle in the spirits of my daughter, that she may quickly come.
Bertram gives a ring.
By my old beard, and every hair that's on't, Helen, that's dead, was a sweet creature. Such a ring as this, the last that e'er I took her at court, I saw upon her finger.
Hers it was not.
Now, pray you, let me see it, for mine eye, whilst I was speaking, oft was fastened to't. This ring was mine, and when I gave it Helen, I bade her, if her fortunes ever stood necessited to help, that by this token I would relieve her. Had you that craft to relieve her of what should stead her most?
My gracious sovereign, howe'er it pleases you to take it so, the ring was never hers.
Son, on my life I have seen her wear it, and she reckoned it at her life's rate.
I am sure I saw her wear it.
You are deceived, my lord. She never saw it. In Florence, was it, from a casement thrown me, wrapped in a paper which contained the name of her that threw it. Noble she was, and thought I stood engaged, but when I had subscribed to mine own fortune and informed her fully, I could not answer in that course of honour as she had made the overture. She ceased in heavy satisfaction, and would never receive the ring again.
Plutus himself, that knows the tinct and multiplying medicine, hath not in nature's mystery more science than I have in this ring. 'Twas mine, 'twas Helen's, whoever gave it you. Then if you know that you are well acquainted with yourself, confess 'twas hers, and by what rough enforcement you got it from her. She called the saints to surety that she would never put it from her finger, unless she gave it to yourself in bed where you have never come, or sent it us upon her great disaster.
She never saw it.
Thou speak'st it falsely, as I love mine honour, and mak'st conjectural fears to come into me, which I would fain shut out. If it should prove that thou art so inhuman, 'twill not prove so, yet I know not. Thou didst hate her deadly, and she is dead, which nothing but to close her eyes myself could win me to believe, more than to see this ring. Take him away.
Guards seize Bertram.
My forepast proofs, howe'er the matter fall, shall tax my fears of little vanity, having vainly feared too little. Away with him, We'll sift this matter further.
If you shall prove this ring was ever hers, you shall as easy prove that I husbanded her bed in Florence, where yet she never was.
Exit, guarded.
I am wrapped in dismal thinkings.
Enter a gentleman.
Gracious sovereign, whether I have been to blame or no, I know not. Here's a petition from a Florentine, who hath for 4 or 5 removes come short to tender it herself. I undertook it, vanquished thereto by the fair grace and speech of the poor suppliant, who by this I know is here attending. Her business looks in her with an importing visage, and she told me in a sweet verbal brief it did concern your highness with herself.
Reads.
Upon his many protestations to marry me, when his wife was dead, I blush to say it, he won me. Now is the Count Rousillon a widower, his vows are forfeited to me, and my honours paid to him. He stole from Florence, taking no leave, and I follow him to his country for justice. Grant it me, O king. In you it best lies, otherwise a seducer flourishes, and the poor maid is undone. Diana Capilet.
I will buy me a son-in-law in a fair, and toll for this. I'll none of him.
The heavens have thought well on thee, Lafeu, to bring forth this discovery. Seek these suitors. Go speedily, and bring again the Count. I am afeard the life of Helen, lady, was foully snatched.
Now justice on the doers.
Re-enter Bertram, guarded.
I wonder, sir, since wives are monsters to you, and that you fly them as you swear them lordship, yet you desire to marry.
Enter Widow and Diana.
What woman's that?
I am, my lord, a wretched Florentine, derived from the ancient Capilet. My suit, as I do understand, you know, and therefore know how far I may be pitied.
I am her mother, sir, whose age and honour both suffer under this complaint we bring, and both shall cease without your remedy.
Come hither, Count. Do you know these women?
My lord, I neither can nor will deny but that I know them. Do they charge me further?
Why do you look so strange upon your wife?
She's none of mine, my lord.
If you shall marry, you give away this hand, and that is mine. You give away heaven's vows, and those are mine. You give away myself, which is known mine. For I by vow am so embodied yours, that she which marries you must marry me, either both or none.
Your reputation comes too short for my daughter. You are no husband for her.
My lord, this is a fond and desperate creature, whom sometime I have laughed with. Let your highness lay a more noble thought upon mine honour, than for to think that I would sink it here.
Sir, for my thoughts, you have them ill to friend, till your deeds gain them. Fairer prove your honour than in my thought it lies.
Good my lord, ask him upon his oath if he does think he had not my virginity.
What say'st thou to her?
She's impudent, my lord, and was a common gamester to the camp.
He does me wrong, my lord. If I were so, he might have bought me at a common price. Do not believe him. Oh, behold this ring, whose high respect and rich validity did lack a parallel. Yet for all that he gave it to a commoner o' the camp, if I be one.
He blushes, and 'tis it. Of 6 preceding ancestors, that gem conferred by testament to the sequent issue hath it been owed and worn. This is his wife. That rings 1,000 proofs.
Methought you said you saw one here in court could witness it.
I did, my lord, but loath am to produce so bad an instrument. His name's Parolles.
I saw the man to-day, if man he be.
Find him, and bring him hither.
Exit an attendant.
What of him? He's quoted for a most perfidious slave with all the spots of the world taxed and debauched, whose nature sickens but to speak a truth. Am I that or this for what he'll utter that will speak anything?
She hath that ring of yours.
I think she has. Certain it is, I liked her, and boarded her in the wanton way of youth. She knew her distance, and did angle for me, madding my eagerness with her restraint, as all impediments in fancy's course are motives of more fancy. And, in fine, her infinite cunning, with her modern grace, subdued me to her rate. She got the ring, and I had that which any inferior might at market-place have bought.
I must be patient. You that have turned off a first so noble wife may justly diet me. I pray you yet, since you lack virtue, I will lose a husband. Send for your ring, I will return it home, and give me mine again.
I have it not.
What ring was yours, I pray you?
Sir, much like the same upon your finger.
Know you this ring? This ring was his of late.
And this was it I gave him, being abed.
The story then goes false. You threw it him out of a casement.
I have spoke the truth.
Enter Parolles.
My lord, I do confess the ring was hers.
You boggle shrewdly. Every feather stars you. Is this the man you speak of?
Ay, my lord.
Tell me, sirrah, but tell me true, I charge you, not fearing the displeasure of your master, which on your just proceeding I'll keep off. By him, and by this woman here, what know you?
So please your majesty, my master hath been an honourable gentleman. Tricks he had in him, which gentlemen have.
Come, come, to the purpose. Did he love this woman?
Faith, sir, he did love her, but how?
How, I pray you?
He did love her, sir, as a gentleman loves a woman.
How is that?
He loved her, sir, and loved her not.
As thou art a knave and no knave, what an equivocal companion is this?
He's a good drum, my lord, but a naughty orator.
Do you know he promised me marriage?
Faith, I know more than I'll speak.
But wilt thou not speak all thou knowest?
Yes, so please your majesty. I did go between them, as I said, but more than that, he loved her. For indeed he was mad for her, and talked of Satan, and of limbo, and of furies, and I know not what. Yet I was in that credit with them at that time, that I knew of their going to bed, and of other motions, as promising her marriage, and things which would derive me ill will to speak of. Therefore I will not speak what I know.
Thou hast spoken all already, unless thou canst say they are married. But thou art too fine in thy evidence, therefore stand aside. This ring, you say, was yours?
Ay, my good lord.
Where did you buy it, or who gave it you?
It was not given me, nor I did not buy it.
Who lent it you?
It was not lent me neither.
Where did you find it, then?
I found it not.
If it were yours by none of all these ways, how could you give it him?
I never gave it him.
This woman's an easy glove, my lord. She goes off and on at pleasure.
This ring was mine. I gave it his first wife.
It might be yours or hers for aught I know.
Take her away. I do not like her now. To prison with her, and away with him. Unless thou tell'st me where thou hadst this ring, thou diest within the hour.
I'll never tell you.
Take her away.
I'll put in bail, my liege.
I think thee now some common customer.
By Jove, if ever I knew man, 'twas you.
Wherefore hast thou accused him all this while?
Because he's guilty, and he is not guilty. He knows I am no maid, and he'll swear to it. I'll swear I am a maid, and he knows not. Great king, I am no strumpet. By my life, I am either maid, or else this old man's wife.
She does abuse our ears. To prison with her.
Good mother, fetch my bail. Stay, royal sir.
Exit widow.
The jeweller that owes the ring is sent for, and he shall surety me. But for this lord who hath abused me, as he knows himself, though yet he never harmed me, here I quit him. He knows himself my bed he hath defiled, and at that time he got his wife with child. Dead though she be, she feels her young one kick, So there's my riddle. One that's dead is quick. And now behold the meaning.
Re-enter Widow with Helena.
Is there no exorcist beguiles the truer office of mine eyes? Is't real that I see?
No, my good lord, 'tis but a shadow of a wife you see, the name and not the thing.
Both. Both. Oh, pardon!
O my good lord, when I was like this maid, I found you wondrous kind. There is your ring, and look you, here's your letter. This it says, when from my finger you can get this ring, and you are by me with child, etc. This is done. Will you be mine, now you are doubly won?
If she, my liege, can make me know this clearly, I'll love her dearly, ever, ever dearly.
If it appear not plain and prove untrue, deadly divorce step between me and you. O my dear mother, do I see you living?
Oh, mine eyes smell onions. I shall weep anon.
To Parolles.
Good Tom Drum, lend me a handkerchief. So, I thank thee. Wait on me home, I'll make sport with thee. Let thy courtesies alone, they are scurvy ones.
Let us from point to point this story know, to make the even truth in pleasure flow.
To Diana.
If thou be'st yet a fresh uncropped flower, choose thou thy husband, and I'll pay thy dower. For I can guess that by thy honest aid thou keep'st a wife herself, thyself a maid. Of that and all the progress, more or less resolvedly, more leisure shall express. All yet seems well, and if it end, so meet the bitter past, more welcome is the sweet.
Flourish.
The king's a beggar now the play is done. All is well ended. If this suit be won, that you express content, which we will pay with strife to please you, day exceeding day. Ours be your patience then, and yours our parts. Your gentle hands lend us, and take our hearts.
Exeunt. End of Act 5. End of All's Well That Ends Well by William Shakespeare.